Good evening, everyone. Good evening. We're going to get going in a few minutes here, but one of the things I'd like to say is a big, resounding welcome and welcome back.
Yes.
Welcome back to Liberty. I'm not sure, maybe some folks were here at the time, maybe some weren't, maybe some are new, some are old to the branch, but the last program that we had here in person was in February of 2020. That was the last program that we had here, and this is our first one back since then.
Wow.
So it's a little fitting for the 45th anniversary we come back for our first time. I'd like to, well first let me introduce myself. If you know me, good to see you. If you don't know me, my name is Sam Williams. I am the current supervisor of the Community Awareness Series, or maybe you know it as CAS. And that has been now for the last few years, although I've worked at the library for many, many years. But because this is the 45th anniversary, and because we would not be here without this gentleman and his hard work and the blood, sweat, and tears that he has put into this department over 45 years, more than that really, I'd like to introduce the founder and the former director of CAS, Mr. David Williams. He also just celebrated a birthday this past summer. He's 21.
Thank you. We're glad to be back. I want to thank all of you for being here today. A little bit unusual after 2.5 years of not being able to present programs to the public, with the public, and that here in this building. So it's like almost starting anew. But we've been here and done this, and a lot of things have happened even over these 2.5 years. But I'd like to also say much has happened over these 45 years, and that when we started out here, I was a young man, and that was the plan, and trying to weather the storm now, and but I'm glad it's it's passed on to capable supervisor for the program, Sam Williams, and that, and fortunately he knows probably as much about the program as I do, because he's been here from, actually he showed up 3 weeks he was born, 3 weeks after he was born, and we had a Martin Luther King program, and Odetta was performing here, the great folk artist, and Odetta was here, and we brought some more to hear Odetta perform. So that was the very first program, and he's been to so many over the years, and that, so he's very well qualified, plus, he's got the talents and so forth, so I'm glad that he's taken the reign, because I don't know how much, well, I'm not holding it anymore, but I'm trying to get a little more rest in as well. But this is a wonderful occasion, and I'm glad to be standing here after all these years, seeing so many people, meeting so many people, who, whether they're locally, nationally, internationally known. It's been a real education, and that to have so many fabulous artists, writers, educators, community activists. There's a long list. I'm glad we put that list in that booklet, and that, because then I wouldn't remember any of it. But we've had really something very special here. And to think at one time, the administration back then was looking to tear this building down or turning it over to a developer or whatever. And we came in and saved this branch and kept it in the library system.
Thank you.
And it's been an awesome fight ever since. I mean, up until the last few years, in that we got some relief because we had people in the administration that support what we're doing, that recognize the value of what we're doing. So, you know, which in many cases we didn't have that same recognition from the administrators. They were always looking to take something away and not give anything back. And in this battle, I just want to mention this, to fight for this program and to fight for this library, I ended up on 3 separate hunger strikes.
Yes. Yes.
13 days, 11 days, 9 days. Those were the 3 days that me and our staff, along with the great Kwame Daughtry,
Yes.
fought for that battle. And one of the guys, he was a young man then, who was also with us and went on the hunger strikes and fought for this branch, former co-worker with the Community Awareness Series, Gil Corbin. So anyway, you know, we just say the struggle continues, and I'm glad we're standing here. We will continue to try to improve on what we have and move forward to have this program exist for another 45 and beyond. And that I also want to recognize someone who has been a big supporter, and also he's a courageous fighter for the good things of Jersey City, especially our environment, and that is the president of the Friends of Liberty State Park, Sam Pesci. A lot of people here have been integral to our progress, and that's whether you're talking about Barbara Williams or Tony Goodson, Steve Pinckney, and a host of others. And that, but with that, I'm going to pass it on, and we have a very special guest here who we invited, and we've had a strong relationship for several years now. And he's a very dynamic educator and a dear friend, Will Gooseman, Dr. Will Gooseman.
Before we get to you, Dr. Guzman, just a few things. I would like to acknowledge, and thank you, Daoud, Dad, thank you. But we know who he is, Daoud David Williams. Again, thank you for your years of work, and I know you've got a lot of hard work into this. He's so handsome. I would like to acknowledge, because as Daoud just said, the world has kind of gone through a lot of things. It's always gone through a lot of things, right? That's nothing new to humanity. But from 2020, we dealt with COVID. We're dealing with wars around the world. The war in Ukraine, that's not, wars are happening everywhere. And then, of course, violence, not only throughout the world, but in particular in the United States. You see police brutality happening. So, for all those that we lost, please, can we just, a moment of silence of a lot of people that we lost over the last few years. Thank you. But I do want to acknowledge that through all of that turmoil, the importance of being here together, community, it's in the title, Community Awareness Series. Being here like this together is absolutely key to where we go next, what's important in life, not the violence, not the hate. We're here together, we share this planet together, and we have to do all the things together to make things work for peace, prosperity, unity. We have a saying in CAS, through struggle there is unity, through unity there is strength. And that's how we should always be. Right, Barbara? That's how we should be. There's also a little bit of a theme going on here. So you guys are attending the anniversary of CAS, but we have a few anniversaries. I want to acknowledge Patricia Vega, who is here. She is the supervisor of our Biblioteca Criolla. They just celebrated 50 years of Spanish language and literacy department at the library. And it was a beautiful event. Thank you, Pat. You did a wonderful job. I also want to acknowledge our adult programming coordinator, Ms. Darnell Richardson. Thank you for being here. I want to acknowledge our library chief of staff, Shane Smith. Without Shane, the ship doesn't sail. So people know CAS as, oh, that's the department that does music. 1,000% yes. 1,000% yes. But just to give you a little bit of background, for those that maybe you don't know what CAS does, we have 3 tiers of programming. One is cultural arts engagement, which is music, visual arts, poetry, literature, theater, and dance, and so much more. And that all falls under the umbrella of cultural engagement. We find that sharing culture doesn't matter where you're from, the African American community, our Latino sisters and brothers, European, Middle Eastern, we all come together to share our culture for better understanding and to learn something new. You might experience something you've never seen before, and I think that's a beautiful thing. But we also do educational and informational workshops and forums. As Dawood's mentioned, there's been a lot of people that have come here over the years, whether it was civil rights, whether they were authors, our environmental people, you name it. There's been a whole host of people. In the booklet, you'll read a ton of names that have been through here. And the final thing is community outreach. That's working with schools, special needs facilities, parks, veterans, senior centers, and so on. So that's the point. We want to be in the community. We want to be connected with you. Making sure that we're doing all the things that we need to do. Service and giving back to the community is super important to us. And going forward, everything that we've done for the last 45 years, we know that Jersey City's changing, right? It's changed a lot. But we're still a pillar of old Jersey City, and we're going to accommodate what is coming, but we're always going to do the same thing that we've always done, is be involved in the community. And everyone is welcome, the door is always open, everyone is welcome here. You have a place here, this is your home. As you know, CAS is a department of the library, so I want to acknowledge the importance of libraries in the community, not just Jersey City, the United States, around the world. Libraries are important. We affectionately call them the people's university. You don't have money, you go to a library, right? And with that, I'm going to turn it over to our fearless leader. If you haven't had a chance to meet him yet, he is our new director, Mr. Terry B. Hill. He comes to us from Durham, North Carolina.
Yes, from Bull City, fellow Bull City resident. Good evening, everyone. And I want to, on behalf of the Jersey City Free Public Library, thank you for being here and celebrating the 45th anniversary of the Community Awareness Series. So for nearly half a century, CAS has provided programs through an exceptional list of speakers, performers, and of course, our beloved Spirit of Life Ensemble, which has also served as the artist in residence since the beginning. Spirit of Life has provided free access to high-quality cultural and educational programs on the state, national, and international levels, and particularly for our underserved communities here within our city. So Sam mentioned the 3 pillars of programming that CAS provides, so I won't go into that. But I do want to point out that having a performing arts series within a library is something that is very rare all across the country, and it is something that we should certainly be proud of.
Yes.
And one reason the relationship between the Jersey City Free Public Library and CAS is so successful is because CAS embodies the core belief of 21st century libraries, which is adhering to a steadfast dedication to serving the community, especially service to those who have traditionally been underserved, underfunded, and often unaccounted for. And just like the library here in Jersey City and libraries around the world, CAS continues to provide a platform in place for everyone to come together in harmony and for greater understanding. So to close, I would like to extend my appreciation and congratulations to Sam Williams. Valued, of course. He's been my Jersey City guide since I've been here. He's taken me all around, introduced me to everyone. And also I want to acknowledge the Spirit of Life Ensemble. I want to thank all of you for your hard work in keeping the arts alive, and especially for your work you do with our young people. So again, thank you all for being here, and I hope you enjoy the program. Thank you. Oh, perfect. Great.
Let's put them in. Thank you, Terry. I do also want to acknowledge a few other people that are here that I've said hello to already, but I'm looking out in the crowd and seeing the faces again. I'd like to say hello to Dr. Cleopatra Wingard, who is the principal of the Martin Luther King School, PS 11. James Dibbler, who's one of the coordinators of Bergen Square Project, Bergen Square Day, and is on the board of the upcoming Jersey City Museum. Jerome Choice, who works with CAS but is the president of Berryland Park, also on the board of the Jersey City Museum. Jerome works hard, he wears many hats. Again, the mighty Sam Pesson. The president of Ursula Webb Park, or Lafayette Park, or 22 School Park, Leslie Lone. I'm not sure where she's sitting as I'm looking around. I want to say hello to Celeste Bateman, who's our sister from New York, New Jersey, entrepreneur, was extraordinary. Actually, I mentioned the last time we were here, February 2020, that was a program we did with Celeste Bateman. And that was Rockin' the Collective and Spirit of Life, right? That's right. Yeah, that was the last time we were here. I'd also mentioned in the theme of anniversaries, oh, and I have to mention Miss Amira Ahmad, poet, writer extraordinaire. Angela Green, welcome, welcome. I mentioned the theme is anniversaries. I'm going to wrap this up, I promise. The theme is anniversaries. I talked about CAS, I talked about Creolia. Spirit of Life Ensemble this past summer just turned 47 years old. If you have seen any of the flyers floating around, the blue flyers, this building, Miller Branch, November 5th, is celebrating its centennial. Yes. So a lot of work to get here to keep this building alive. So we're going to move on with the next part. Now, Dr. Guzman. I apologize. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Will Guzman is a serious educator, activist, and organizer. He is the former director of the Lee Hagen Africana Studies at NJCU. He was a professor of history at Prairie View A&M University down in Texas. And now he has been named the Assistant Vice Chancellor for the International Programs and Community Engagement at North Carolina Central University. Really, it's Jersey City's loss that we don't have Dr. Guzman anymore, but they're lucky to have him. But you talk about a serious community person who's just been engaged, involved, and I mean really a very, very serious academic and absolutely 100% for the community. So with that, we're going to bring up Dr. Guzman.
People who want to write either do it or they don't. My most important talent or habit was persistence. Without it, I would have given up writing long before I finished my first novel. It's amazing what we can do if we simply refuse to give up. That quote, of course, was by Octavia Butler, the famed science fiction author and MacArthur Fellow. And I think that's important because what we see here in 45 years of community awareness series at its core is what Octavia mentioned in this quote, persistence. Greetings, everyone. Of course, as Sam mentioned, my name is Will Guzman, and I have the honor of bringing today's message in celebrating 45 years since the birth of the Community Awareness Series. To distinguished guests, family, friends, comrades, and community members, welcome. Thabo Mbeki, former South African president, while in exile, his brother Jama Mbeki was murdered by the agents of the Lesotho government in 1982. Thabo Mbeki's son, Kwanda, was the product of a liaison in Mbeki's teenage years, was killed while trying to leave South Africa to join his father. When Thabo Mbeki finally was able to return home to South Africa and was reunited with his own father, a political activist who spent 24 years on Robben Island with the famed Nelson Mandela, the elder Mbeki told a newspaper reporter, quote, "You must remember that Thabo Mbeki is no longer my son. He is my comrade." A news article pointed out that this was an expression of pride, explaining, quote, "For Govan Mbeki, a son was a mere biological appendage. To be called a comrade, on the other hand, was the highest honor." In South Africa, comrade is associated with the liberation struggle. It can also be a way of describing someone who is an activist, particularly against racial apartheid or economic inequality. And finally, comrade is used as a term of endearment, meaning friend, colleague, or ally. During this 2-hour stay together here, I may call you comrade. And if I do so, please forgive me for any offense you may take, because I know in the popular sentiment of this country that comrade has a different association. I want to thank my comrades, Sister Barbara Williams, Brother Daoud Williams, for their tireless efforts in producing the Community Awareness Series, which, after 45 years, has become an institution in our great city of Jersey City here. Many thanks, of course, to numerous other comrades. For example, Jersey Journal columnist Earl Morgan, Dr. Robert Perry, former director of St. Peter's University African American Studies program, Sandra Edwards Bussing Riley, director of internship and cooperative education at St. Peter's, longtime Jersey City resident Mrs. India Edwards, who currently is 103 years old. Attorney, yes, let's come back. Attorney Neil Brunson of Jersey City's Afro-American Historical Society Museum at the Greenville Library. Phyllis Gordon of Jersey City's NAACP. Thank you for being here, Phyllis, and your support. Writer and community activist Hakeem Hassan. Attorney Barbara Camacho. Public servant Viola Richardson, and so many more comrades who I have spoken with over the years, and they have shared with me invaluable insight and perspective on a variety of issues, including, of course, Zul Latifatu Zahir Ratu. Is she here today? All right. Another important comrade of Jersey City, and as well as the city of Newark, a local legend, a sister. Zul, of course, raised her children in the best tradition of an African-centered house as they attended the Newark School of the Arts, Zawaida School of African Dance, Spectrum's Africans, and Umoja Dance Company, bringing her style, her flair, her fire, and energy to our culture. And so I've been told earlier that we may be honoring Zul, and so I'm looking forward to that. So I'm not going to steal anyone's thunder by elaborating further, but I'm so glad that we're doing this. Jazz, of course, is a very old tradition. In fact, band leader Sun Ra once said jazz, quote, began billions of years ago, unquote. Jazz artists master various instruments such as pianos, strings, horns, and percussions, especially the drums. And this becomes very important because our comrade Daoud Williams is himself a percussionist. Ayang is an orisha of musical instruments, particularly the drum. Now this becomes important for West African culture, where many of us give praise to the gods in the Ifa tradition of West Africa. So Ayang becomes a very important orisha in that pantheon. In African culture, the drum is the main instrument for inducing trance. It does this through mimicking the heartbeat. The drum is the heart of the earth. And so when we look at the history of jazz and the importance of West African culture, the importance of the drum, we also see how it's also been historically derived as a negative connotation to the culture, American culture at large. Right? Many people saw jazz as being, quote, the devil's music, as being something evil. Right? Saxophonist Billy Harper correctly stated in 1971, quote, since most people have been taught to hate and fear the black man in America, and in this country in particular, this music represents one of the strongest parts of his culture. So jazz becomes extremely important, particularly those origins, right? Not only because when we look at Sun Ra claiming that jazz goes back billions of years, right? But I would argue that it would go back at least hundreds at the minimum, but possibly thousands of years. When you see the evolution of jazz, coming directly from blues, which comes directly from the work songs of our people being enslaved here in the hells of the Americas. In September 1957, Satchmo, the very famous Louis Armstrong, quote, the way they're treating my people in the South, the government can go to hell, unquote. Now this becomes very important because when you look at Louis Armstrong, he's viewed traditionally as someone who is an accommodationist, someone who capitulates to the power structure. And so for him to point this out that was so obvious says a lot. The Community Awareness Series was born out of struggle, born out of a successful experiment between the Miller Branch Library and the Spirit of Life Ensemble in 1977. The series grew from a program coordinated by a collective of local artists and musicians that garnered tremendous interest and support from the community. CAS has served as an ambassador in the arts by organizing and conducting live performances in conjunction with the Spirit of Life, as well as workshops and educational forums and multicultural presentations, children's programs, and institutional outreach. CAS operates primarily throughout the city, but has also been on call, if you will, for programming throughout the entire state. The series, CAS, mainstay is, of course, jazz. But CAS is also the host of world beat, folk, blues, gospel, rock, and classical music. Another component of the live performances is dance and spoken word. The series puts on a spotlight on social development, creative endeavors, information sharing, and resource redistribution and distribution in an informal setting. CAS hopes to foster unity and by providing a visual platform for our multicultural communities here in Jersey City. With more than 45 years of service, the Community Awareness Series keeps evolving, from rescuing the Miller Branch Library from demolition, to lobbying for a parking lot, to lobbying for an establishment of the Afro-American Historical Society Museum at the Earl Morgan Library, to lobbying and founding and establishing or helping establish the annual African American Cultural Arts and Family Festival at Berry Lane Park, and also by providing services to underrepresented groups in this community. CAS continues to be an active voice here in Jersey City. There have been attempts to close CAS, to permanently shut it down, to defund it, if you will. Yet it continues to coordinate forums on topics such as the anti-apartheid movement, AIDS awareness, anti-gang violence, autism awareness, and hosting the oldest annual Kwanzaa celebration here in Hudson County. Jazz legends that have performed for CAS in the past include Pharoah Sanders, Houston Person, John Hicks, T.K. Blue, Eddie Henderson, Brian Benninghoff, Chip Shelton and the Peacetime Band, Buddy Montgomery, Abdullah Ibrahim, Cecil Brooks, the Blackbirds out of Washington, D.C., Tomoko Ono, Ted Dunbar, Michelle Hendricks, Vanessa Rubin, Benny Powell, Andrea Bradfield, Eddie Crawford, George Walcott, and so many others. But it's not just the musicians, of course, it's also the poets, the writers, the artists in both theater and in media, including Ruby Dee, Paul Robeson Jr., Walter Myers, Earl Morgan, Rashad Wright, Rescue Poetic, Dr. Daisy Century, Body, Mind, Soul Performers Collective, W.E.B. Jones, Sheila Anderson, the Hudson County Shakespeare Theater Company, Hattie Gossett, Sheila Lynette, and Theater Repertorio Español, and Julie Nash. In 1977, the New York Daily News' Roger Witherspoon stated that the Spirit of Life Ensemble, quote, defied description, unquote. At the core of the group's values is their founder, Daoud Williams, who has had, according to the newspaper accounts, and we know from experience, a love of life and the need to share the talent with others. The group initially started in the early 1970s, according to artist painter Cliff Walston, born out of the politically charged era of the 1960s, when the civil rights movement was waning and the rise of the Black Power movement, which gave inspiration to so many other movements, including the environmental movement, the New Eurekan movement, the Black is Beautiful movement, the women's rights movement, the gay rights movement, and so many other movements in this country. Cliff Walston mentioned, quote, there are political statements in a lot of the things that we do, unquote. So hopefully we could see that these pieces of information, these various quotes from various individuals, and tie that in with the Spirit of Life Ensemble, with the Community Awareness Spirit, where we see a lineage, a political lineage of this organization. This unique collective, right, the Spirit of Life Ensemble, born right here in Jersey City, consisted of photographers, dancers, singers, painters, poets, musicians. Daoud said in 1977, quote, we give lectures on any number of developmental subjects, mostly art, but including yoga and health, and involve everyone who has something to contribute. This was in 1977. This brother's talking about yoga, mental health, right? Exercising. The Hartford poet Chuck Obofsky described the Spirit of Life as, quote, bringing the 17th annual Greater Hartford Jazz Festival to a dramatic close with a 90-minute set of superb, amazing swing. The Village Voice, which, at least in its heyday, was a very prominent cultural newspaper. Right? Their critic, Gary Giddens, said, quote, the Spirit of Life is a musical carnival, mining rhythms all along the Afro-Cuban Brazilian circuit, with blaring solos, a singer, and a determined jubilation. For all its cheer, this is a disciplined, vital unit, unquote. This important collective has had members from all over the nation, all over the world. Also, they played in the top jazz and musical festivals throughout the world, including with the likes of Thad Jones, Jackie McLean, Illinois Jacquette, and prominent clubs such as New York City's Sweet Basil and so many others. Furthermore, this is what comrade and brother Daoud Williams said in 1985. Right? I see more and more people walking the streets with no place to live, unquote. He went on further to describe the obvious. And now listen to this, because you would think, is this someone in 2022 saying this? Because these issues are still with us today. Quote, this is what Daoud said in 1985. I see racism and scapegoating of ethnic groups on the rise. This is 1985. What's going on in 85? You see the rise of Reaganomics, the rise of Ronald Reagan, who came into power in 1980. Right? And with that came what? The rise of mass incarceration. The rise of HIV/AIDS. Right? The rise of gun violence, which would hit its height in 1991 and 92, with over 2,000 mostly black men being murdered here in the metropolitan area. Right? But we also see the rise of hip-hop, which would give so many black youth hope and optimism. Fannie Lou Hamer famously said, quote, you can pray until you faint, but unless you get up and try to do something, God is not going to put it in your lap, unquote. Fannie Lou, of course, is famous for saying, I'm sick and tired for being sick and tired. Right? And what we've seen over the last few years, with the rise of Trump and so many others on the political right, is this extremism where you would think that even she's and her sayings and her worldview is still relevant, unfortunately, to this day. Intellectual giant and psychologist Dr. Amos Wilson reminds us that if our study of black history is merely an exercise in feeling good about ourselves, then we will die feeling good. We must look at lessons that history teaches us. We must understand that the tremendous value of the study of history is for the regaining of power. Kwame Ture, we know him as Stokely Carmichael, who spoke right here, as we see his picture right here on the wall. Kwame Ture said, quote, knowledge has but one purpose. Its purpose is to alleviate the suffering of humanity. And finally, Nina Simone, the great jazz vocalist, right, from North Carolina. Anger has its place. Anger has fire, and fire moves things, unquote. The work of the Community Awareness Series, the work of brother and comrade Daoud Williams, the work of the Spirit of Life Ensemble is about the forward progression of African peoples. It reminds us that freedom is a constant struggle and organizing is foundational. Thank you, comrades.
Thank you, Dr. Guzman. Powerful words, powerful message. It's true in 1977, it's true in 2022, going into 23. This is the portion, we're going to get ready to hand out a couple of awards here. First, I know you just sat down, Dr. Guzman, but we're going to call you back up. We'd like to present to you the Community Education Award. This award is in recognition of your outstanding contribution of instilling the knowledge of history through your tireless work of bringing to the forefront the importance of Africana studies, its literature, and language of the African diaspora, including the civil and human rights movement. We respect and honor you. Thank you, sir. And I have not mentioned this name yet because we also want to honor her. Miss Zul, or Mama Zul, I've heard someone once call her. who is the director of Spectrum Africans Dance and Drum Company out of Newark, New Jersey. She's been doing it a long time, and she's the keeper of history and culture and art in so many ways. And Zool is still at it, still going strong, and we're happy that she's here. Take your time, Zool, take your time.
All right.
This is the Community Cultural Arts Award presented to Zool Latifatu Zaharati. This award is given for the recognition of many successful and legendary years as artistic director and leader of Spectrum Africans Dance and Drummers. Also in recognition and respect for your outstanding ability as choreographer, keeper of the African folklore tradition, teaching ability, and costume designer. From the Community Awareness Series to you, Zool, we love you. Thank you for being here with us over the years.
This is glorified. This reminds me of the old-time furniture that was real. Real chairs. To hear my name called by such an outstanding person, it's an honor for me to even be in this room. But I'm talking about the heads of states. I feel like this is a royal court here. Y'all don't realize that it took me so hard to get and walk. You know, my bus was coming up Mill Avenue. And coming from one hood to the next hood, from north to here, it has definitely changed. I want y'all to know that medicine comes in so many other degrees. And this is my treatment. You guys are my treatment. I'm trying to tell you that because if I don't tell you that next year, it's because physically, I don't plan on saying I need anything. But I want you to know that I'm working hard. I'm trying to stay here. You know something when the lady from the funeral parlor comes to your house and say, "You off my list." I'm not looking for you right now, Miss Come on now. Go back.
That's
You
right.
understand?
That's
So
right.
I want you to understand that. It's like my kids didn't know I was coming because they figured I gotta ask somebody for a ride. But they all tied up now, taking care of older people, people say. So I had to get here the best way I knew how. I'm from Jersey City. Guess what? The bus is gonna detour to 40 and whatever that highway. For the sisters that I was with for this week, the sisters from Iran, listen, those some warrior sisters. They don't look like us, but they feel like us. And when you're seeing them getting stomped and beat and killed over some daggone hair, listen to us. You are not your hair. It can get fixed. They're killing the women based on you didn't have enough of your hair covered. Okay? It's a lot of things that we need to die for, but it ain't one of those things dealing with garments. You better get it right. If we tempt the men to do atrocities to us based on showing ankle and wrist and hair, then something has to be done. Men, y'all can stop this stuff. Y'all can protest the men who have the power to stop these things. Women are saying, kill me. Women are saying, shoot me, stab me, put me in jail. We have to know that there's some other things going on universally that we need to be a part of and contribute to. We can move anything, okay? But just sit and talk with them and knowing they want to dance. They want to sing. They want to write. They want to raise hell. They want to do something out of what expected of them being inside. I don't even want to call it religion because that's not in the Quran, okay? This thing that we're caught up in, and how you look and how you walk and how you get, we should be able to do whatever. There are some names for people who do some crazy stuff, but you know, one side don't fit all in all. We know that. We know that, sisters. But listen, when you are faced with death every day, you better learn how to live. Every day, I stay up until 5 o'clock. So I'm woke when everybody else is getting ready to get up and I can go to sleep. Because this thing about, I watch my patients at the hospital keep calling you to do things for them until I figured it out. They figure if they can call you to do something for them, they ain't gonna die. So now I done started doing that and I realized I'm doing the same thing my patients was doing. You understand? Can you go get me this? Can you go with me to go get this? And the kids are looking at me like, Granny Sue, you all right? Yeah, I'm all right. But they know what was said. They know what the doctor said. They know, listen, you have to love the life. If you don't understand there is a supreme being, then there's a problem.
Okay.
We don't have to put no penis on it. We ain't got to put no gender on it. Don't put no flesh on it, because that's weak.
Right.
Stop dealing with what these people are telling you in the world. The worldliness is worldly.
Come on. Teach.
Okay? You just now finding out about all the other universes, they was already here. Why are you thinking that this go from 12 planets to now hundreds of thousands of planets? They was already here. We've already been here. Some others are already here. We need the next scope of understanding. What you see is what it is. This is what we see. What you don't see is what it is. So we need to learn how to lock ourselves and lock our hair and let it go nappy. Okay? And let it do whatever it needs to do. Men, the biggest commodity that you can have is any type of woman that's willing to stay in the presence of male ego.
That's right.
I'm telling you this from a woman's point of view. We love you. But we ain't scared. Right? We need you.
Yes, sir.
But we don't need you to cut us down.
Okay now.
I want you to understand my grandsons. It's a whole lot of them. It's 28 boys. 28 grand. But in the house it's always 7, 8, 9. And I see the reverence in their face. And I see the humbleness with them as they get older. Some try you, but they know I can't run. But if I snatch you.
Girl.
And so
They don't want it.
I can't afford not to be humane or kind. I can't afford to be where I denigrate anybody. I can't afford to debase the principles of what we are standing on. Okay? But you better believe it's greater than yourself. And the greatness is of all those selves that's in us.
Thank you.
All of the selves, the people in you, they're rising. I got fire in my belly. Fannie Lou Hamer is my patron saint. I rise up with Harriet. I know they're giving me the minute, the axe, but I'm just letting you know this is the Apollo. This is the Apollo of Jersey City. I didn't know who Sam was. I was saying that sounds like Samora. But I didn't know he was used to singing. So I'm just grateful.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So we all know that you've also come here for some wonderful music. Thank you for hanging in there, bearing with us. It's 2022, we haven't been here since 2020. Give us a minute.
Take your time.
I also saw a couple of other people walk in. I just want to say hello to Jersey City's own, the Kennedy Dancers, who've been doing it for decades. Dan Jadone, Tom Haran, thank you for being here. Representing the heights of Jersey City. So let's get on with the show, shall we? We're going to introduce Sherry Winston, who is a dynamic flutist who has a wide-spanning career that has taken her around the world to places such as Haiti, Jamaica, England, and even Japan. She's performed with Stevie Wonder in New York City, for Misty Copeland, the first African-American principal dancer with the American Ballet Theater. She has opened for John Legend, Gregory Porter, Vanessa Williams, Sinbad, Foreplay, Patty Austin, Jonathan Butler, Richard Elliott, Ramsey Lewis, Shaka Khan, Peebo Bryson, and Regina Bell, Grover Washington Jr. as well. She's appeared in concert with Ronnie Lewis, Kirk Whalum, Pieces of a Dream, Jeff Lorber, Norman Brown, and flutist Herbert Laws at Carnegie Hall in New York City. So we're talking about some serious talent. She has appeared on The Today Show, BET, Emerald Live. She's hosted 6 shows for BET TV. She is a graduate of Harvard University's College of Fine Arts School of Music and is a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. So let's give it up. We're going to get to the music, I promise. Miss Sherry Winston. Sherry Winston.
for being here tonight. We are so happy to be here. COVID took a toll on everybody, including recording artists, performing artists. All of us had nothing to do for 2 years except sit home and practice. So we are so thankful to be in front of a live audience. Anyway, that's a song that I got to play with Stevie Wonder.
Oh, wow.
And ladies, that's a time you have a deep conversation with God. God, please don't let me hit a wrong note with Stevie Wonder. All right? So I think it was the most thrilling time in my career, honestly, to get to play with him. I've played his music. I've loved him like all of us have since he started as little Stevie Wonder. And being on the stage with him and also Valerie Simpson, she happened to be in the audience and jumped up and got on the piano and started playing, so it was a really special night. Anyway, we're going to do something for you now that was written by Horace Silver, who's originally from Norwalk, Connecticut. And we've got our own little spin on this called Song for My Father. And right after that, we're going to do a song called Morning Star, which was a song that was one of the most played radio songs that we recorded for our 4th CD, so we hope you enjoy it. Now, Horace Silver's Song for My Father. take us home with you. We have missed audiences for so long. It is just so wonderful to have smiling faces out there. It's just fabulous.
That's the community awareness series.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So years ago, I was invited up to Canada, to Toronto, to do a book party for my book that came out, For Lovers Only, a Cookbook and More. And it's got my romantic CD in the back of it, very interesting book. It's more than just a cookbook. So I went up there and met some really fantastic people. The Torontoans are great people, a lot from the Caribbean, different parts of the Caribbean, and they all sort of came out. So the friend that had invited me up said, you know, there's a wonderful musician over there, I want you to meet him, and his name is Eddie Bullen. And every time somebody says, oh, I have a wonderful musician to introduce you to, I'm thinking, oh my God, I hope this isn't somebody's cousin who really can't play, right? So he gives me a bunch of his CDs and I give him a bunch of mine, and I'm sort of skeptical. And I flew back to LaGuardia Airport, got off the plane, got in my car, and I said, well, let me just pop one of these CDs in. And I was like shocked. I was like, what? Are you kidding me? This stuff was so good. Well, by the time I drove back to Connecticut, I got on the phone with this guy. I called him long distance from up to Canada and said, I have got to come back and record 3 of your songs because I absolutely love them. So it's just a good lesson to tell everybody, be open, don't, put your own stuff on things. Keep an open mind. You never know why you're being introduced to somebody, and maybe God is introducing you to that person. There's a real spiritual reason why you should listen and keep your mouth closed. And that's not always easy because all of us bring our baggage with us, right? So my baggage got put away, and I went up to Canada, and this guy was so sweet. He was just the easiest person in the world to record with. We actually recorded, 3 songs. We're going to play 2 of them tonight for you. The next one is called Mardi Gras. Should we play Regatta right after that or wait a little bit? What do you think?
Oh, wow, giving us a decision.
Okay, we won't ask them. We'll keep the set list as is. We're very organized up here, so we have a set list, and I guess I should stick with it. Because people know when they're supposed to solo, what they're supposed to do, and I don't want to mess them up here. Okay, so we're gonna do Mardi Gras, and we're gonna feature our incredible pianist, Richard. And right after Mardi Gras, we're gonna play Love Is, which is a song that was written for me by a gentleman in Barbados, Nicholas Branca, and I absolutely love this song, so we play it all the time. So we hope you enjoy Mardi Gras and then Love Is. Should we play the last note?
Yep.
Or not? Thank you. Thank you so much. So, ladies, here's a question for you. How many of you have ex-lovers? Raise your hands. Okay, now, those of you who are not telling the truth, you raise your hands. Okay, everybody has an ex-boyfriend, an ex-lover, whatever you want to call them, ex-husband, ex-friends, special friend. Anyway, I wrote this next song for one of those type of people. We won't say what category he was in. He's in the doghouse now, but anyway. I say that I recorded this song, and he's actually doing a rap on the song in French, which is kind of interesting. And we had some singers for the lyrics that I wrote. And people ask me, how can you still play that song after you broke up with him? Okay, gentlemen, here's a question for you. How can I still play the song? Amen, brother. I'm still getting royalties on this song. All right? Okay, so we're going to play a song that I wrote called Mr. D's Funky Sweet. That's sort of a tongue-in-cheek. You have to know exactly what all of that means. And then we're going to play that second song that I recorded in Toronto called Regatta. So, Mr. D's Funky Sweet. So where is Sam? Is he still in the house? Where are you, Sam? Okay, I have to know, we're supposed to do an hour, but we started a little late, so we're
Good
okay.
man, Sam. Keep
All
going.
right, all right. Okay, here's regatta. spirit and your applause and your whistles and all the things that you do out there comes to us directly on stage. And that allows us to kind of give it back to you. And we've played for audiences. I don't know what happened, if they were brain dead or what was going on. But they would just sit there and look at us like, huh? How y'all doing? You know, and after a while, you know, you try to combat that. This happened to me one time in Washington, D.C., and I was trying to figure out, what do I have to do for these people? You know, started jumping up and down, nothing was working. I was like, oh my God. So then I started talking. That's actually how I started talking to the audience, because I would be like every other musician, you know, just stand up here and do my thing and play and then get off the stage, and that was it. But I said, I have to do something. So I started talking to the audience, and people started responding, and I said, aha, I've got to talk to them and let them know how I'm feeling and what's going on up here. So one of the critics from the Washington Post wrote a critique of the show, and he called it jabbing, meaning jabbing my mouth, and jazz. And I read this article, I said, what? The first time I decided to talk to the audience, this guy's gonna get on me for talking to the audience. So I wrote him a letter. Can you read that? I still have the critique too, and I tried to explain everything to him, how, you know, I was starting to come out and the audience was helping me because they weren't applauding. I didn't know what to do for them. So anyway, all of that to say, thank you for being you. You guys are great. And we feel you up here. We feel you. So while I'm talking, I have to say a special thanks for the 45th anniversary to Sam Williams and his predecessor, that David Williams. Give them a round of applause for making this happen. And a special round of applause for our sound man, George Adnan. And our photographer. Okay, and who else did I forget? I have some friends. I want to see if anyone has come further than my friends in the front row. Has anyone come to my concert tonight further than South Carolina?
Yeah.
Yeah?
North Carolina.
Did you drive up here especially for my concert?
Yes. North Carolina.
Now tell the truth now. God is in the house, tell the truth. Anyway, to my special friends who drove up from South Carolina. I met them years ago in Barbados, and we have been friends ever since. And you know, some people, they go off you like Teflon. They hit you and, you know, nothing really happens, and other people stick. And they have stuck. And every time we're together in Barbados, we just hang out and have a blast. So anyway, thank you so much. So we're going to do another standard, and in our own way, by Stanley Turrentine. He recorded this song, I think it was 600 times. I mean, it was crazy, or it's been recorded over 600 times. And it's a song that we love to do. We're going to feature everybody in the band, and it's called Sugar. But Sam told me to remind everybody that we were here for the 16th anniversary in what did you say?
1993.
1993. I was a baby then. Anyway, we're so glad to be back. And there's a video on YouTube, I think, that commemorated that time.
Library YouTube page.
The library video YouTube page. All right. So, and hopefully our videographer, Shelton Walden, will have another one posted of this concert. And he's another gentleman you have to thank. Thank you, Shelton. So here's Sugar. extraordinary musicians to introduce you to. On keyboards, a gentleman who has studied at Juilliard, University of Detroit. He's performed with Noel Pointer, John Lucien, Harry Belafonte, Mbulu, Diane Reeves, Hugh Masekela, Wayne Shorter, Zubin Mehta, the famous conductor, George C. Wolfe, the playwright, Eliana Van Zandt, Melvin Van Peebles, and the list goes on and on. Richard Cummings. And on drums, this gentleman has played with Dizzy Gillespie, Gloria Gaynor, Sam and Dave, the Platters, Little Anthony and the Imperials, the Marvelettes, Tom Brown on Funking for Jamaica. He's performed for the Bill Cosby Show, A Different World, Living Single, and he's won a Grammy for Denise's Williams CD, This Is My Song. On drums, Joe Ham. And your favorite bass player and mine. Okay, now. All right, now. He has performed with Marion Meadows, the Yellow Jackets, Tower of Power, Tom Brown, Paula Atherton, Althea Renee, Esteban, and he has released 9 CDs under his own name and performed on 60 CDs with other artists. He's toured through Germany, the Czech Republic, Austria, Slovakia, and the list kind of goes on and on. On bass, Mr. Steve Clark. So Sam, we're going to enlist you and ladies back there, I forgot to mention this to you, and ask you if you would mind, if people are interested in CDs and my book at the end.
Yes.
All right, in the back there, and I'll be happy to come over and sign everything. So just to tell you a little bit about the book, just a very tiny bit about it. It took me 19 years to write this book. And that's because I sent it to agents and tried to get representation. And you know how you get rejection letter after rejection letter, and it just keeps coming, and after a while you say, you know what, forget it, I guess I'm not a writer, and you put whatever it is you're working on down. So I did that. And then like 5 years later, I'm sitting at my desk, you know, booking the band and doing all the stuff that I do. And I looked down and I saw this thick manuscript. And I said, this is crazy. I spent all of these nights till 3 o'clock in the morning writing this book. And to heck with these agents and publishing houses. I'm gonna do it myself. And sometimes that's what you have to do. You have to have belief in yourself. Never mind who rejects you, who tells you you're too old to do something, you're a female, you're a black male, you're this, that, and the other thing, you know, whatever your story is, they're gonna throw it in your face. Forget about it. Go on and do it, whatever it is God put you on this earth to do. And I hired my own editor from Essence Magazine. I paid her. I paid a designer to design the book, a layout artist. I hired a photographer who went to Howard with me, not Harvard, Howard University, the home of the bison. And we all worked on this together collectively. Everybody got paid every nickel that they wanted. I didn't ask anybody for a discount. I was tired of people asking me for a discount. So do unto others what you want done to you, right? So I told them, look, I'm a jazz musician. This is how I make my living. You may not get your money when you want it. It may be 2 years or 3 years from now, but you will get all your money. And that's exactly what happened. So this book is a book of encouragement for you all. Whatever it is that you've been putting off that someone told you you couldn't do, go back to school, learn an instrument, write a book, write a poem, compose a song. Even if you don't know music, you can sing it into your phones and have somebody transcribe it for you. Whatever is in your heart, do it. So, we're gonna play a song that someone told me I should not record because it was beneath me. And I said, what are you talking about? That's ridiculous. Here's a song that was written by Beyonce and Donna Summers and 8 other artists and has sold 5 million records. Hello? What do you mean it's not worthy for somebody to play this song? So I made up my mind we were gonna record it. It's called A Naughty Girl. And after that, we're gonna end the show with a song that I wrote called Symphonic Rock Suite. We hope you all enjoy it.
All right.
On behalf of Richard Cummings, Steve Clark, Joe Hand, and I'm Sherry Winston. So it's been a great honor. Thank you so much. If you're interested, the CDs are in the back. Thank you.
Please give another wonderful, wonderful round of applause for Sherry Winston. I did mention the theme was anniversaries, and this is, Sherry, I think this is your first time back to Jersey City Library, right? So thank you for being here.
You coming back?
And again, like I mentioned earlier, first time back since 2020. Please thank you every single person here for being here, celebrating 45 years with us. The work continues, we're going to go on, we're going to keep doing, we're going to get bigger, better, and stronger. So again, everyone, thank you, get home safe, have a good night. We still have plenty of stuff on the table. If you want to take something home, please do. Have a good night.